Assalamualaikum to all. Alright, today I am going to explain to you another elements of valid contract. Okay, before we proceed with the discussions today, let us recap. Okay, last lecture I asked you to watch the videos, book videos on elements of acceptance, considerations, and legal capacity. Okay, so I hope that you understood the elements there. Okay, for acceptance, you need to know the rules of acceptance. Okay, rules of valid acceptance. Okay, there are 3 rules. Okay, the important one is the acceptance must be an absolute and unqualified. Okay, if there is any modification to the to the offer, then it will become counter offer. Counter offer will destroy the original offer. Okay, so there is no contract if there is an acceptance of counter offer. Okay, other than that, under acceptance, okay, regarding the complete communications of acceptance. Okay, so we have the general rule and the exceptions. Okay, this is where, okay, when you want to communicate the acceptance, okay, how to know that there was a complete communication of acceptance? When the other party, yes, when the other party has notice of the acceptance. Alright, and there is an exceptions to this known as poster rule exceptions. Okay, poster rule also important. Later I give you problem based question. I help you how to answer this type of question. Okay, and then next elements is under considerations. Okay, considerations, all you need to know is section 26. Okay, the general rule of consideration. Okay, and then the exceptions to this general rule. Okay, there are 4 exceptions based on section 26 A, B, C, and D. Okay, and then the 5 rows of considerations. Okay, so just remember one thing. Okay, even there is no consideration provided by both parties, but the contract still can be enforced, provided that it falls under the one of the 4 exceptions under section 26. Okay, next we have the elements of legal capacity. Okay, this is more you need to know the effects of contract entered into by minor. As per the general rule, the contract will be void. Okay, based on the case of Mohari Bibi, right? Okay. However, there are certain exceptions where if a minor enter into this contract, then the contract becomes valid. For example, contracts for necessaries. Okay, then when any person supply the necessary services to the minor, for example, necessary things, education, okay, books, okay, food, shelter, okay, so these are constituted as necessary, okay, necessary for minor, so the contract will become valid. Okay, but you must differentiate, okay, between the contract for necessary and for luxurious goods. Okay, luxurious goods, for example, if a minor enter into contract to buy an iPhone, okay, an iPhone falls under the category of luxury things. Okay, so the contract will becomes void. What is the consequence if the contract becomes void? Okay, the minor must return the iPhone to the seller. Okay, because the minor already receive a benefit under the contract. Okay, so when the contract is discovered to be void, it is automatically discharged the parties. Okay. And now, okay, we proceed with the next elements under the intention to create legal relation. Okay, this is also important because you need to identify whether the parties in the contract have intention or not to be legally binding. Okay, we don't have any provisions under Contracts Act 1950, therefore we refer to common law positions. Okay, so there are two presumptions of intention, okay, based on two agreements. First is known as business agreement, second is family agreements. Okay, for business or commercial agreements, okay, the presumption is agreement is intended to be legally enforceable unless specified otherwise. Okay, you must take note of this. Unless specified otherwise is when the parties can prepare other things, okay, in order to disregard their intention. Okay, so take note for business agreement, yes, okay, the parties have intention to create a legally binding contract. Okay, unless the parties specify otherwise. Okay, actually there is one case here, a case of Wynn against Bull, 1877. Okay, Wynn against Bull. In this case, okay, it happened between two parties. Okay, in the agreement, they have stated that, okay, their current agreements are subjected to the formal contract. Okay, so first instance they just have an agreement, okay, not a formal contract. Formal contract meaning you need to stamp a contract, okay, you need to provide signature and so on. Okay, so they said that they have intention, okay, to be legally binding under the contract, provided that they have concluded the agreement into formal contract. Okay, however, later there was no formal contract entered into, therefore, court decided that both parties have no intention to be legally enforceable under the contract. Okay, this is for the first presumptions. Okay, next presumption under the agreement, social and family agreements. Okay, this is also known as domestic agreement. Okay, this is where an agreement is not intended to be legally enforceable. Okay, for example, family agreement, an agreement between husband and wife, okay, between sister and brother.